Roger Stone here. Your dollars are losing ground, but gold isn't. American Sovereign Bullion helps you protect your wealth through real, tangible assets. Through their nationwide wholesaler network, you get some of the best pricing on gold and silver delivered straight to your door. Since 1912, the U.S. dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold continues to prove its strength. So call 844-272-2428. That's 844-272-2428. Or visit dyingdollar.com to request your free gold and silver guide. That's dyingdollar.com.
Welcome to the 5 o'clock show. It's time for Common Sense. Now, it's Katz and Cosby with John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby, standing for truth, justice, and the American way, bringing common sense to the world. Now, here's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby.
Right through the very heart of it, New York, New York.
Well, I am back.
That's what I was about to say. You're back.
In New York.
Back in the New York groove.
But wait, that song is not for me, though.
No, it isn't. But I just want to say one thing. We're so happy to have you back.
Well,
we missed you.
Thank you.
We missed you. You had a great trip.
I was gone for 26 hours. We had like 7 or 8 meetings.
Wow.
And we got a lot accomplished in St. Petersburg. And, well, Florida, what are they saying? Come on down.
Come on down. And they loved you. I saw a whole bunch of press conferences.
The chairman of the GOP is going to be on with us in about 5 minutes.
Yep.
And he lives in Florida and Sarasota, too. And I was with his wife yesterday because during one of our press conferences, his wife is running for Congress in St. Petersburg.
Love that.
And Sydney Gruder, and she's very qualified. And
that's awesome.
I think she's going to win.
But, John, we got the Knicks, and Florida does not.
Yeah, exactly. And
Well,
in fact, that's why the New York. I think we play New York again just because we love it. Because we had two reasons. John's back and.
Right through the very heart of it, New York, New York.
And President Trump is coming to New York on Monday for the Knicks game. It's going to be Game 3. Of course, the Knicks versus the San Antonio Spurs. Knicks won last night 105-95. It was a great game. I actually saw some of it. Not bad for a girl, right?
Right.
And so then Game 2 is tomorrow night. And then Game 3, there'll definitely be a big Game 3. And even bigger now that the President of the United States, who's a Knicks fan, and he's also friends, of course, with the Dolans of MSG, he will be at Madison Square Garden. It just came out.
I mean, they're going for like $5,000 a ticket or something.
Oh, my, John, even more. I saw that they're even selling like tens of thousands of dollars for front row seats. I mean, you have to sell your firstborn child to be able to see Game 3. Some people might, Ed,
Yeah,
you never know.
It's been a long wait since 1973.
Yeah, it has been a long wait.
And then we have a great show today. We have Tom Homan coming in.
Yeah, we love
have Joe
Tom.
Gruder, the chairman of the GOP. Then Tom Homan after that.
Dr. Oz we have coming
Dr. Oz.
on.
I mean, but between those three, what else can you ask for?
You can't ask her. No other show
we have
has
a lot
this.
more after that, too.
Yeah, and we have Miranda Devine, Mike Rogers, Vito Facella, KT McFarland. By the way, Miranda got a big exclusive interview with President Trump, so she's going to tell us all about that. And John, as we are talking about all of this stuff with Graham Plattner, here's some breaking news tied to Graham Plattner. Let's do the breaking
news. WABC.
Well, he was on Capitol Hill yesterday. This is the Maine Senate candidate with the Nazi tattoo. And he was meeting with Democratic senators who are panicking behind the scenes. They're having laryngitis in front of the cameras, but they're panicking behind the scenes. And so they were asking, hey, is there anything else that's going to come up? And he said, well, there might be, but it's not true, but there might be. Well, now in the last few minutes, the New York Times is reporting that several women who dated Plattner recall very unsettling behavior. Judge Weinberg?
And that's troubling itself, but there's yet another revelation. A former wife of his or girlfriend of his said he knew exactly what that Nazi tattoo was. So all his denials just try to say, I had no idea, I was drunk. He knew exactly what it was.
We're going to ask Joe Gruder about that. But it's very, the Democratic Party finally realizes he should be out. And then in Maine, that's a funny situation.
It's a funny situation. And the problem is, John, the Democratic Party, I think they, like you said, they realize he should not be there, but they're not doing anything. Yeah. And they're afraid to criticize him. In fact,
they're rallying behind him.
They're rallying behind him.
Warren, Sanders,
exactly.
They're all rallying behind him.
Enough is enough. I've heard enough of that.
Exactly.
Next.
By the way, trouble. Now, the other thing we're also going to talk about is this crazy guy in New Jersey. This guy, Hamamwe, he actually was friends and also was the translator, right?
An aide-de-camp
right, for
of
the blind sheik.
Omar
Abdel Rahman, who was the mastermind behind the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. And the fact that now he said, well, I feel like it's guilt by association. Yet he voluntarily testified, as we learned yesterday. He voluntarily testified and said, we were in the car. He was talking about jihad a lot, and he was talking about this, and he was talking about that. And then he voluntarily testified as a character witness for the blind sheikh.
Yeah, and how about going to Bosnia as a supporter of Al-Qaeda?
Yeah, it doesn't get any crazier. Oh, my goodness, you guys. This is great. And by the way, John, before we move on, big day also in the stock market, John. The Dow rallied like 900 points. And Ed, we were talking earlier, a lot of it had to do with tech sell-off.
Tech sell-off,
right.
NASDAQ did not go up, but the Dow Jones, the old stocks,
I mean, it almost went up 800, 900 points.
Yeah, it skyrocketed today. It was a biggie.
The economy is the sun is going to shine for at least the rest of the year.
Yeah, the sun is going to shine. Let's hope, right? It's off to a good start. Well, who better now to talk about what's going on with all the races than Joe Gruters? He is the chairman of the Republican National Committee. And Joe, it's great to have you here. I just can't fathom, we were talking about this, and somebody said a couple years ago that one of the candidates on the Democratic side would have a Nazi tattoo and all these other horrible revelations about him. And then you've got a Hamamwe, the guy who just got picked the other night on the Democratic side in New Jersey. Then you got El Said in Michigan. I mean, this is like a lunacy.
Dr. Jihad is how I refer to him in New Jersey, but this is exactly what you could expect from the modern Democrat Party. They have a Nazi, they have a terrorist sympathizer, they have these radical left-wing extremists, woke lunatics. But that's what Mamdani has done. Mamdani, AOC, Bernie Sanders, they've inspired these crop of candidates to run, and they're winning or they're pulling their candidates so far to the left that is creating these unbelievable matchups. I mean, look what happened in Iowa. 2 seats that are considered the toss-up type seats with Miller Meeks and Zach Nunn, who are Republicans that we're defending, and they're going against the queen of DEI and the wicked witch of woke. It's unbelievable. We're getting the perfect matchups for our candidates, but the fact that they're putting these candidates up and they're standing behind them, there's a lot of chatter that Plattner's going to be leaving. I doubt it. The guy has the ego the size of a pickup truck. I think he stays in, and the Democrats are going to be faced. Well, listen, they're already double downing in support of him. I think it's disgusting, but that gives us a real chance to defy history and win this November.
Mr. Chairman, give us an update. How is controlling the votes? Make sure Americans are the only ones voting in congressional elections, senatorial elections. I understand Tom Fitton wanted to come on today and talk about California. They found 800,000 bad eligible.
Yeah, it was 873 ineligible voters. That's what he was sharing with us yesterday. That right was bombshell.
I mean, it looks like we're okay in California, but you tell us.
Well, listen, in New Jersey, we're working with the New Jersey GOP, and this is where they found all these non-citizen voters. We've been working with them. We've requested this data. Listen, they won't give us access to the voter rolls. And the reason why is because they're cheating and they're trying to hide what they're cheating. And so basically what happened is we did a request to find out the non-citizens that have been on the voter rolls that have requested to be removed because they're going for citizenship. And there's hundreds, and I think that's probably what you're referring to. And this is just from one county. And what we've done, they've been blocking our efforts. The RNC has made voter roll requests in 48 states. I know the DOJ is involved now. It's wild what they're doing. We have to make sure we have, elections that people could have confidence in. And listen, we have 150 lawsuits in 32 states now. We go coast to coast wherever we can. We're not being reactive anymore. We're going out there and bringing the hammer down, because the only way the Democrats think that they could win is what I'm thinking is they think that they have to cheat. And so that's why we have to file all these lawsuits. And then we have, we've already have all, in 2024, Laura Trump and Michael Wiley did a great job with election integrity with boots on the ground. We've already sent out field troops to the 17 battleground states, and we're going to continue to send more and more people to help us organize, to help us get ready. So it's not only lawsuits, but it's boots on the ground. We're going to be ready in 2026. And I always say it's so nice to live in a state like Florida, where we have 23 million people, and we could, with Republican and Democrat supervisors of elections, and we could basically deliver results within 60 minutes, and everybody has the full faith and confidence in the system.
What else would you like to tell the American people this evening, Thursday evening?
Well, listen, just the fact that, we're working around the clock to try to make sure that we have safe and secure elections. We have an incredible opportunity to win in November. Like I said, we're getting the dream candidate matchups. I mean, you guys listed the candidates. They have so many wackadoo Looney Tune candidates that our matchups that we were hoping for, we're getting. And so we have the right candidates in place. We have the resources to have the boots on the ground, to deliver the messaging. And then we have the best showman that's ever existed in politics in Donald J. Trump, who's going to deliver that message and help us deliver these low-propensity voters. And so we're going to barnstorm the country with them in these districts that matter, in these areas where we have these toss-up races. And we just need people to come together and help us. And so anybody that's sympathetic to our cause and that wants to keep the economy going, that wants to continue to see the improvements you're seeing under the president, go to GOP.com and join us and give us your time or treasure.
Joe, I have a couple of questions, 2 or 3 things. One is the SAVE Act, because you brought up about voter integrity. And I'm curious your thoughts about what's going on in California as we're waiting, because John was talking about the fact that, we had Judicial Watch saying there was 873 ineligible that shouldn't be getting the mail-in votes. And now they're waiting. It's 13 days that they have to count, as long as it came in technically on by election day, and then it doesn't get certified till the end of June. I mean, it seems like Florida does it within minutes,
It doesn't make any sense that they're counting ballots. This is how they cheat. We're on the cusp of one of our biggest election integrity wins ever. The Watson versus the RNC case addresses this specific issue. Election day should mean election day. It shouldn't mean that you're allowed to count ballots until you get the desired results, which is what they do in California and other areas. We've lost lots of congressional seats, U.S. Senate seats over the years. There's actually 13 states and the District of Columbia that allow the ballot counting to go on forever. We have to put a stop to it. It's a terrible thing. Election day should mean exactly what it means election day. So be ready. The Watson versus the RNC case, I was out over at the Supreme Court a couple of weeks ago talking about this during the oral arguments. And I expect us to, I'm hoping that we win that case and that we could stop this nonsense from happening in the future.
Well, Joe Gruder, Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for coming on today. Anything else you want to tell the American people?
Listen, just that if you want sanity, reasonableness, and common sense, it's the Republican Party and this president that's going to deliver. Join us by going to GOP.com and give us your time or treasure and help us make sure that we can give the president a full 4 years.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and I agree with you 110%. We need common sense to prevail, and we'll talk again real soon.
Thank you, Joe, very much. Thank you. And joining us now, you guys, we have the great border czar, Tom Homan. Tom, we love having you back here on the show. And Tom, you got to fill us in, because I understand at the Newark Detention Center, the ICE facility there, you went and you kind of went in there, you got a lay of the land, and you tried the food. Tell us what you saw firsthand.
Well, I went up for 2 things. Number one, I went up there hard in that facility to protect the agents and detainees, make sure that we had all the security in place. Then the second thing I did is talk to local, political officials to get them to do their job. Then I did. I went to the facility, did a full inspection, walked around everything. I walked in the dorms, the rooms, the showers, and the toilets, and cafeteria, and medical, and outdoor recreation, indoor recreation, law library, visiting. Every square foot of that facility I went through. And I was just putting down all the false media, all the false reports that simply, first of all, there was no hunger strike. There never was a hunger strike. There were people that didn't eat in the cafeteria, but they were ordering food from the commissary. So people were eating. Some just chose not to eat in the cafeteria. And as far as the food was terrible. After that inspection, I made another unannounced visit on Saturday, came in at lunchtime and told the director, I want to eat lunch. I want to eat lunch in the cafeteria with the detainees. I want the same food they eat. And, of course, I had my security, around me, but I sat there, ate the same food they ate, and it wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't Ruth's Chris, but it was spaghetti and meat sauce. It was green beans. It was charred beans. It was bread and butter. It was a dessert. It was a fruit drink. I mean, I didn't eat the dessert, but I ate everything else. And not only that, I'm a pretty big guy. I didn't finish it all. So, bottom line is, all these stories are fake. And when I asked the governor, okay, give me the details. Who supposedly had a miscarriage? Who didn't get their medication? Who is on a hunger strike? I mean, you're making all these allegations. Please give me specifics so I can run it down. They had no specifics. They had no names. They just said, what's what we're hearing. Look, this happens all the time. Detainees will make stories up. They don't want to be detained. So they think if they create enough noise that they'll be released or what just happened. Because of the Democratic politicians whose main goal is to end ICE detention and to end ICE, they went up there Memorial Day, an insult to the war veterans who were supposed to honor that day, and started this. And guess what? They ended up dealing with it because I went up there and I said, you guys need to do public safety. Our job is immigration enforcement. This is our facility. I'll protect our facility, but the people outside that are assaulting officers, damaging property, that is your job. And they did it. And what did the whole world see? That these idiots were attacking state troopers.
Tom Homan, John Catsimatidis. Now, of all the people, a lot of people got arrested. Only one was from New Jersey. Who are these people that are coming in from other states? Who are they? Why can't we get our law enforcement people? Why can't we get the FBI to find out who they are and who's paying them?
I can't share a lot, but I can tell you we know a lot, and people are going to be charged. But I'll leave it at that. The FBI was there. We saw a lot of the same protesters we saw in Minneapolis and Chicago. This is an organized attack against this administration. FBI has a whole bunch of evidence, so I'll leave it at that. But the governor of the state, shouldn't she be smart enough to realize that these are not her people, not her citizens doing this? I think she realizes now that we had that discussion. And so if these people think they're smarter than the FBI, smarter than Homeland Security investigations, smarter than career law enforcement officers, you got a surprise coming, and it's coming soon.
And now, who's protecting the facility? I understand she sent in the Newark police?
No. I met with the police. I met with state troopers. I talked to her. I said, you need to do your public safety job. These people are blocking the street. They're damaging property. They're assaulting your officers. I said, you need to control that. That is your job. We're an immigration enforcement agency. We'll go out and arrest people. This is a little different in Minneapolis, right? They were protesting our arrest. Here they're protesting our detention facility. I went out there. I put Jersey barriers in. We put embassy fencing in. We put more drones in the air. We put arena lighting in there. I put SRT teams. I brought 6 or 7 SRT teams in, including three FBI SRT teams. We got that security. That facility's hardened, and we're behind the wire. So when I told her, you need to protect the streets because if they get in, I don't think they can get in, but if they get in, they're going to have a bad day. The first people are going to meet is SRT operators. So the facility is safe. And not only am I protecting the facility, I'm protecting the people we're detaining. and I'm protecting the agent. So it took about 2 days to get that facility hardened to the point that I thought it was safe in there. So we'll continue to protect that facility. That's our job. But outside that wire, outside that property, that is their job. And honestly, they're doing a pretty good job at it now. But what the genius behind that was, people saw these fools, these domestic terrorists. It isn't just about ICE. They don't like the badge. They attack troopers. They attack Newark Police Department. These people are just anti-law enforcement.
They're just paid characters, and the American people have to realize. Tom Homan, and you'll see the president before I see him. Everybody has to realize it. Everybody has to realize that they're putting on a play for the American people in all the major media outfits, ABC television, NBC television, CBS television. They are playing along, and they're showing the play that they're putting on.
Right, and they're buying into it. Tom, before we let you go, I want to ask you about New York State sanctuary law. Because it essentially says that, local cannot cooperate with the federal. The federal can't be, according to New York State, in public places like a park. I mean, that's crazy. And then also no mass. What's your response to New York State, Tom?
Good luck with that. Bottom line is, I made a promise that if the governor signed this, that's going to take away the efficiencies of the jails, the efficiencies of 287G. Now, rather than one agent arresting one person in jail, we got to send a whole team out there. So you're going to see a lot of agents come to New York City, and people say, well, you made that threat. What's it coming? First, I'm not going to tell them. But second of all, the plan's been working, and we'll be there. And every illegal alien that we arrest in New York State, we're going to fly out of state to detain, because she says now we can't rent a bed from the local sheriffs. If I got no place to bed them down, then we're going to move them out of state. And how does that help the migrant community? How does that help? Because a lot of people we put in custody, they'll be in custody for a while while they go through hearings. And, I got no problem them being in the local area so their families can come visit while they're going through this process. But she has forced us to move every arrestee out of the state, away from their families, away from their attorneys. So you know what? She gets what she deserves, because I talked to her before they signed that legislation and told her what happened in Minneapolis, the success we had in Minneapolis, because over 80 sheriffs came to the table and helping us get the bad guy in the jail. She did the complete opposite of what showed effective in Minneapolis. I had a long discussion with her. She chose to do it anyways and fold to the hard left. Well, it's coming.
Well, thank you so much. Somebody has to find out who is. The FBI has to do their job. They have to assign the right people and find out who is paying these people and where the money is coming from.
We've already identified a lot of people. Justice is coming.
Good.
Thank
Tom,
you
we
so
love
much,
you.
Tom
Keep up the
Holmes.
great work, Tom.
Keep up
Thank
the great
you.
work. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom.
And now we got KT McFarlane. We can take the break.
She's going to join us after the break.
Let's take that break, and we got KT McFarlane to tell us what the heck is going on in the rest of the world.
A common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Cats and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And we are back here on Cats and Cosby. And what is going on overseas? There's a lot of activity and a lot of back and forth between the U.S. and Iran with messages in terms of where it may be going. President Trump continues to say he will not take a bad deal. He will only take a great deal. And it must include giving up nuclear development. That's the biggie. Well, who better to talk about all of this than our next guest, former Deputy National Security Advisor under President Trump, KT McFarlane. KT, where do you think this is going?
Well, I think it'll go back and forth a couple more times. I mean, there seem to be two groups in Iran, right? The military group, the IRGC, and these are the guys with the guns, and they don't want any deal. And any deal that is agreed to, they'll probably try to sabotage. And then there are the pragmatists, the people who were in the parliament, Speaker of the Parliament, and the president, and they seem to be they're the guys negotiating with President Trump. And I was very encouraged today when Iran, not the United States, but Iran, the Iranians came out and said, well, we've received America's proposal, and there's some ambiguity in some of the issues. Whoa, in other words, they're negotiating. Prior to this, we reject out of hand. We're not going to talk to the Americans. This is absurd. But if they're talking about there's some ambiguities, that means that they're in a pretty, final stages of a negotiation. Now, the question is going to be three things. One, can the negotiation, if it has an agreement, will the guys with the guns, will they try to sabotage it or will they honor it? And then the second part of the thing is, how do you verify that they're keeping the terms of the agreement? You need to have complete, snap inspections. And then finally, if they break the agreement, which they will, how do we deal with it? Do we have military? Do we have economic sanctions that continue on? So, not there yet, but I think they get there this summer.
Well, the stock market went up almost like 800, 900 points. So I think it's a combination of everything. The price of oil went down a little bit. So, I mean, everybody... I think the only person that knows that what's really going on is Marco Rubio and President Trump.
100%. They know better what's going on than any Americans, anybody else does. And they may even know better than the Iranian government themselves what's going on.
Well, the problem with the Iranian government, KT, is they're probably making a deal with 2 or 3 of the chimpanzees versus the 2 or 3 of the gorillas are still want to fight.
John, you have a way of crystallizing the thoughts, the chimpanzees and the gorillas. Okay. I think you're about right. Some of them are going to just want to fight on. And that's why I think that the bigger picture of what's happening and President Trump is doing is he's changing the whole architecture of the Middle East. It's not just Iran. It's the Gulf Arab states. It's the Abraham Accords. It's building on the Abraham Accords. About 10 days ago, President Trump said, I want everybody to sign the Abraham Accords, even Iran, if we get a deal with Iran. In other words, he needs to have it enforced by the people in the region, not just Israel.
And KT, the other thing that's going on as the OPEC nations stir the pot once in a while, stir the pot this way, stir the pot this way, 100 million barrels a day and extra $30, $40 a barrel, somebody's getting very, very rich in the price of oil.
Yeah, somebody is, and Russia is one of the beneficiaries of this, and UAE, which pulled out of OPEC because it didn't want to be.
They're making double coupons. They told the president, we need some reparations, and the president says, well, why don't you kick out of? This is my opinion. Get out of OPEC and produce as many gallons as you want or barrels.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, the strongest alliance is going to be the United States, Israel, and the UAE. They're going to be the leaders. Maybe Saudi Arabia joins the group, but the UAE is making plenty of money. And the reason they got out of OPEC was they didn't want to have quotas. They wanted to just keep printing the money by selling the oil.
And they're printing a lot of money right now, and that's what's really happening. A lot of money is flowing around, and you know who's paying for it? We are.
Well, at the end of the day, it's the world consumer and the world market. But the minute there's a deal, and as John, you've pointed out, the minute there's a deal, there's so much oil just sitting around on ships that the price of oil will come tumbling down and the price of gasoline will come tumbling down.
KT McFarland, we love you, and let's stay on top of it, and we'll talk again real soon.
Talk soon. Thank you, John. Thanks, Rita.
And are we going to do the top news of the day?
We're going to do the top news of the day.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
It's the top news of the day. Here's Rita Cosby.
And everybody, we were talking with Joe Gruters about California. Well, California election officials, get this, say that roughly 700,000 ballots still need to be counted following Tuesday's primary elections. We are still awaiting the final results in the LA mayor's race and California governor's race. Officials say it's taking so long because by law, every voter gets a mail-in ballot that doesn't have to be postmarked until the final voting day. And then they have about 13 days to count. So what could go wrong there, Judge? What do you think?
What do you think's going to go wrong?
What do you think, Dan?
They got to look at the signatures.
That's right. They got to verify those. That's right. All right. And also in other news, you guys, President Trump says he wants to bring down energy costs by investing $700 million in coal plants. Speaking from the Oval Office just a little bit ago, Trump said that the money will be used to preserve existing plants and build new ones. Trump is invoking the Cold War era Defense Production Act that gives the president authority to support and invest in private production considered vital to national security. So that's a biggie.
Well, that is big. And should we take a break?
Let's take a break.
And then hopefully Dr. Oz is supposed to call in.
Unless
the president call on Dr. Oz on something.
We get stood up for the president?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's take that break. Let's take that break, and hopefully Dr. Oz will be on the other line.
You're commuting home with Katz and Cosby. Now, here's John Katzimatidis and Rita Cosby on 77 WABC.
Well, we are back, and with us today is Dr. Mehmet Oz, and there's so many things to report from the president's health on. Dr. Oz, where do you want to start today?
Well, let's start with the breaking news, because I was just in Ohio with the acting Attorney General, Todd Blanche, Kash Patel, FBI director, and we had a big announcement in the Buckeye State about a fraud initiative. Took down a lot of bad people. State Medicaid office there stopped 49 home health care providers from defrauding the public. We've created a war room that will allow an all-of-government approach. And what that means is we get to have the FBI and the Department of Justice and the Office of Inspector General and the Treasury all working with us at Medicare and Medicaid. So we can actually say, hey, listen, there's too much money going out to autism care here. It's 5 times more than it was 2 years ago. Something's wrong, and then they start looking after the bad guys, and we can then stop paying the money out, which is why we are so focused on this. Because when the money leaves the building, it's going to international syndicated corrupt groups. It's going overseas to other countries. In Ohio, they have a large, second biggest Somalian population behind Minnesota. They have folks from Bhutan there who met these massive fraud schemes. These guys come here, they buy beautiful luxury cars, yachts. They toasting champagne on private jets that they buy. They send the money back to Bhutan, and no one seems to be watching the till. And so, because the last administration basically advertised, go ahead and steal if you want, we're not coming after you. These guys did just that. They followed orders, and we're coming in there and saying, not only is there a new sheriff in town, we don't want you walking away, we want you running, because we're coming after you.
Dr. Oz, shouldn't maybe the president put somebody in between the normal course of business with the money going out to somebody that's a Doge-type person to say, I'm going to double check and make sure 5 minutes before anybody sends a check out?
So the way that Medicare works, which is for seniors, we have that. We've stopped $40 billion leaving the building last year. But Medicaid is run by the states. So here in New York State, which is a massive Medicaid budget, the largest Medicaid budget.
The new budget is $125 billion, I understand.
Yeah, it's incomprehensibly large. And the bigger concern, of course, is that you're not necessarily getting good quality care for that invested money. It's being stolen, a lot of it. And so you got to figure out who the good players are, who the bad players. The states have seemingly taken their eye off the ball. They don't seem to care so much about that. They don't think they're getting graded on whether or not tax dollars are being used correctly. They're getting graded on making sure that there's plenty of services out there. What ends up happening is people who aren't really capable pretend that they're doing the right thing. And in many of these states, you've now taken things like personal care services, which is doing things for your patients that their families would do for them normally. So carrying the groceries, driving them around, picking up stuff, errands. This is the kind of stuff we're now paying for. But if you're a perfectly healthy individual and you want to give your kid a job, this is a good way of doing it. We now have the number one job in the entire state is personal care services. In fact, John, it's twice more common than the next most common job. So it's a shocking reality. You got twice as many people in personal care service than fast food restaurants. And these numbers get bigger and bigger.
It's far beyond that. I understand Florida, with 24 million people, it's only 33 billion. Now, New York, with only 19.5 million people, is 125 billion. How can that be possible?
You have an unholy alliance between groups that should be competing over tax dollars. Instead, they say, you know what, let's get in the same team. Let's all work together. We're all going to go to Albany and get these guys, these suckers, to give us the money that we want. And then the people in Albany say, you know what, not such a bad problem because we're not paying for it a lot anyway. A lot of it's coming from Washington. So this is a great game. We're going to pretend like we care about people, pretend like we're paying this extra money in. We're going to collect the money from other states because it's coming from the federal till. And then you have other states who are beginning to learn from New York. They're starting to do this. We have kids with autism that are getting charged close to $1 million for autism care a year. I mean, I'm a heart transplant surgeon, as you know. I can do a heart transplant for a couple $100,000. I mean, you're talking about you got to spend that kind of money for every single kid with autism. Obviously, it's fraudulent. No one's watching because nobody wants to be called the bad guy. Everyone says, oh, you're cutting access to care. The truth is you're making care more available because your biggest allies are the legitimate providers. And if they don't run a real business and take care of people and get paid appropriately, they leave the business. So if you're a regular stand-up home health care person trying to do the right thing, and all these fraudsters are stealing people around you, they drive you out of business because you're trying to do your job. You're actually paying people to help. They're not. They're pretending to help. They're not even providing the service.
Rita?
Yeah, Dr. Oz, one other thing, too, by the way, you have been so busy this week. I can't believe I was watching your press conference earlier from Ohio, and then the day before, you had this huge announcement about Trump RX. This is big news, too. Can you share it with us?
Of course. Well, I was blessed while Caroline is out on maternity leave, Kate Levitt, who are our press secretary. So they're picking different members of the administration to guest host the press briefing. So we had a big announcement on Trump RX, so they had me do that task, which I was.
You did a great job, by the way. I was watching. You did a great job.
It felt like my show. It felt like I was taking questions from guests at the audience. Right. But the issue about Trump RX is really critical, and you guys have been following this, so I want to give you credit for it. The average American knows that there's a reasonable chance when they go to a drugstore, they will not afford their medications. That's happening to almost a third of Americans now. But the reason for that is we're paying 3 times more than people in other countries for the exact same drugs, even if they're made in this country. And so the president said, no mas, we're not going to do that. We want you to go negotiate with these drug company manufacturers. Do not price fix. Do not drive innovation away. Just tell them whatever they charge overseas, they got to charge here. So either raise your prices overseas or lower them here, or probably both. Turns out they do both. The industry's happy with it. We signed all 17 of the biggest companies up, and we decided to put all those really good prices for medications on TrumpRx.gov. Now, this is a website that is free for you to use. We added 160 more medications to it this week, which is why we did the press event. And the major message is 4 out of 5 times you buy a medication in a drugstore, we will be able to give you a price for that on TrumpRx.gov. So you need to check the site before you make a purchase. In fact, the big drugstore chains like CVS and Walgreens, they're starting to put computers in their pharmacies, so you can just check there before you make a final purchase to ensure you don't have a better price. If you have a better price on TrumpRx.gov, just show the coupon to the pharmacist, you get the price.
Wow, good for you. Well, this is amazing. Good for you. You did a great job, by the way. I love Caroline, but you were great.
Yeah. Anything else you want to tell the American people while we're still on?
I'm very proud of the fact that we are putting work requirements into place. John, you worked your whole life. People at the different venues that you're a proprietor of have to work their tails off. Most of us do that. It brings joy to our lives. But if you're able-bodied and on Medicaid, like in New York, you don't have to work. And that's changed now with the Working Families Tax Cut legislation. If you're getting free government insurance, you actually need to go to work 20 hours a week, and we will help you get a job if you can't work those hours. Or you can get volunteering credits, or you can go get an education. Just do something. Here's the number I'm going to leave you with. The average person who's able-bodied getting free health insurance through Medicaid watches 6.1 hours of television or just hangs out every day. That's not fun. You have agency. You have a purpose in this life. Go out and earn it. Go out and do it.
Dr. Mehmet Oz, thank you so much for coming on this Thursday evening, and we'll catch up with you again real soon. Thank you for everything you do.
God bless both of you. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Oz. And John, understand, joining us now, we have Mike Rogers.
He's
course,
one good guy.
He is the best. Do you want to bring him in real quick, John?
Well, we got Mike Rogers, who's running for the United States Senate for the Michigan.
Absolutely, big seat.
And we need some common sense in Michigan.
Yeah, Mike, boy, tell us about the race, because boy, do we need some common sense. I'm looking at the other side, and it's like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, it is about crazy versus common sense, and man, do we need this seat. And thanks for my 2 favorite New Yorkers who have adopted Michigan this cycle. Thank you so much. We are doing very, very well. So think of this environment. We're beating in the latest poll. It was about maybe 7 days ago now. Not our poll. that had us beating all three of the Democrats in head-to-head polling. So they're fighting it out in a primary all the way to August, and they are just getting more left and more crazy. A Bernie Sanders, Democrat Socialist Party kind of activist is running here, Abdul El Sayed, and he's catching all the fire of the left. And again, he wants to go back to the government running your lives and running your health care and, running the banks, running your grocery stores. I mean, it is quite terrifying what they're talking about doing to America. And that's why this race is so important. So when we came out and we were ahead, even in this national environment, that says we're doing all the right things and our message is working.
Well, we have another New Yorker here who loves you too, also, Congressman Judge Weinberg.
Congressman, good to talk to you again. How are you?
Hey, Judge, it's always good to hear your voice. Thanks for being all three of you for common sense in America. Man, your voices are so important.
Well,
right
it's
now.
very important that the Republicans hold on to the United States Senate, the United States House of Representatives, because they're the last bastions of reasons in this cycle. And God forbid we have the Democrats in charge of either house. You're going to have war against the president, and he's trying to bring back common sense, protect our borders, protect our economy, make sure our schools teach our kids is important. And your race is particularly important because the cast of characters running the Democratic primary, one is more suspect than the other. You have to question their values and their concerns about America and going forward. Tell us about what's going on there in that race and what's so important in Michigan.
Well, and I think, thanks, Josh, that, the race that why I think we're doing so well is we've been pointing out, listen, the Democrats have been in charge here. They've had two Democrats in the U.S. Senate seats for 32 years. The Democrats have controlled Lansing for 10 years. And it is a disaster. I mean, we've lost 30,000 manufacturing jobs. Our education went from top tier. Now we're down to 45th in the country. We lost defense industrial-based jobs because I argue we had two senators in the United States Senate just didn't care about those jobs. And the Democrats in Lansing have given us the highest auto insurance rates in the country, the highest utility rates. We're about 17% higher than the national average here for your electric bill every month. I mean, they have been a disaster for your pocketbook and progress. And getting our kids here in Michigan who want to stay and get great careers here. And so what we've been doing is here is all the things they've done to you, and here's what we're going to do for you. And it's working. People are buying into this notion that once you get past all of the rhetoric of the Democrats, they're the ones that caused all the high prices. They're the ones that caused your energy rates to be so high. And once the Iran war is done, we're going to have a huge boon here because the president has re-engaged American energy production in a way that we haven't ever seen before. That's going to help us get our rates down, help get your prices down. I'm looking forward to that. And if you go back to the same old, doing the same thing over and over, send another Democrat back for another 6 years, guess what? You're going to get the same bad policy and the same bad outcome.
Ed Cox.
The way you describe Michigan, it sounds just like New York. We have not had a Republican senator now for 30 years. The Democrats have been completely in control of Albany for almost 10 years. And the exodus from New York is huge, going down to Texas or South Carolina. How do you turn this situation around? I know you're running for the Senate, not for the governor, but what? Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Thanks on this, Mr. Cox. Thanks for all your work, too, over the years. You've been such an important player and again, a voice of reason and sanity amongst the chaos. We've got to capture the people's imagination. They did a poll here, it's crazy, where most Michigan citizens thought we were middle of the pack on economics and other things, and education and other things. And then come to find out we're at the bottom of the pack because of Democrat policies. So what that is Democrats just keep saying over and over, anything bad happens, not our fault. Don't look at the things that we're doing. So one of the things we can do at the federal level is we think we can get our kids reading again, 3rd and 4th grade reading, super, super important. You're not reading in the 4th grade by the 4th grade. You have a 70% chance of going to prison or being on welfare. we can use Title I money to help schools fix that. We're calling for SHOP back in every high school in Michigan. And why that's important is if you want to go into skilled trades, you need to be exposed to it. And people need that applied math that happens when you're in a shop class. My dad was a shop teacher. I'm the youngest of 5 boys. We all took shop. We all turned out pretty good, I think, in the grand scheme of things. And so what we're trying to do is creative, innovative ways for you to save without the tax man taking your money for down payments, for housing, things that we can do at the federal level that make your life a little more affordable and make you want to invest in a place and put roots down and overall bring your prices down by doubling down on American energy exploration here in the United States, making sure that we have access to reliable, inexpensive, sustainable energy sources here. All of that's the kind of thing that we can do. And, of course, you want to make sure that America has the military that can protect us given the uncertainty of the world here. And so we have, I think, a really aggressive agenda. I would encourage your listeners to go to RogersForSenate, ROGERS.com, and help out. I mean, if you want to make an investment where we can make sure that the Democrats don't take back the United States Senate, this is the state to do it. This is the place to put your money. We're going to break this trend. And that positive message we have of, here's the problem, but here's how we're going to fix it is working here in Michigan. We really encourage people to be a part of this race by getting on that website, RogersForSenate.com, and figuring out exactly how you might want to help. Every little bit helps, I tell you. Every little bit helps. And the Democrats are getting nastier by the day, and they have money pouring in. God knows where their money comes from, but it just pours into a race like this.
That's a great agenda, Mike, and that's what we need here in New York, too.
Absolutely. And, Mike, by the way, I want to tell everybody, former FBI, former
Chairman
Army,
Intelligence Committee,
former chairman of the Intel Committee, your resume is impeccable.
You're our hero.
Yeah, you're
Good
our
luck,
hero.
Mike.
We love you, Mike. Thank you so much, Mike.
We love you guys, too. And by the way, I got a peek at the judge's FBI file, so maybe we'll have a whole special on that next week.
I look forward to that. You'll be bored forever.
Yeah, the 2-hour special. 2 hours special.
2 hours of boredom.
2 hours special. Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
It wasn't the first truckload of files that was worrying. It was the second truckload.
It was the whole caravan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much.
Thank
great
you,
to
guys.
have you, and we'll look forward to having you on again soon. We wish you so much luck, Mike. You're terrific.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
You're the best. Thank you, Mike, very much. And you guys, now let's go to a little bit of a New York State stuff and a little bit of New York lunacy.
Breaking news, WABC.
And, of course, New York State, you can't make this up. The Senate, the legislature, they have approved, and we're waiting for Hochul's approval, the governor there, to get rid of the words mom and dad. And they're coming up with other words, Judge.
Non-gestating and gestating parents. By the way, does that mean I have to return my Father's Day card?
Yeah, it's a
Do I go to jail? Do I go to jail if I take one?
Non-gestating day, okay? Well, joining us to talk about this and other craziness is Staten Island Borough President. We love him, Vito Fossella. Vito, yeah, this is just so crazy. I mean, can you believe that this is actually, they are pushing this? Have they gone mad?
Yeah, I guess we're at a point where we believe anything that comes out of Albany or some of these places these days. And by the way, I serve with Mike Rogers in Congress. He's an excellent guy, and I hope he wins. He'll do terrific. So if that works out, great. I think the judge has pointed out the people who are going to reap tremendous benefits is Hallmark. Can you imagine walking into a card store in May? And,
I want my non-gestating card.
Yeah, you happy it's a Mother's Day. Happy gestating Parents' Day. We love you from all of us, and it's just it really just objectifies what has evolved over not just hundreds but thousands of years of what it means to be a mother, and you're going to replace that whole notion when a kid cries for his mother, or does a kid cry for his gestating parent? And it brings it down to a silly thing to appeal to a handful, perhaps, people, and destroys what our culture has said is acceptable as a mother and a father raising a child. If there are other issues at play, fine. But why redefine things that are so, I don't know if we take it for granted. but it flies in the face of who we are as people and makes it just think about it. It just talks about that person is a gestator, right? It has nothing to do with emotional support, being there, taking the kid to school, whatever the case may be. That person is now the gestating parent for the law to know.
You know, Vito, did you hear James Tallarico? This is the guy who is running in Democratic side in Texas. And he's on tape. It came out a couple days ago where he is saying, women, we call them neighbors with a uterus. That's how he describes them. Well, I mean, it's like, and he was trying to. It was such an absurd comment, but he means, okay, well, they can have babies, the other ones can. I mean, like you just said, we have lost such personalization and family values.
Well, indeed, and what it does, and so I'm saying there's this movement once again on the left, and that's why there are elections to reject this nonsense, to stand up for the 90+% of the people who are very comfortable with the notion that there's a mother and a father in a child's life, as opposed to this objective, sterile, really race to the bottom of diluting thousands of years of who we are as a people. And you're always going to get them, but you have to have the courage to say, no, not here. If we can figure it out, if there are legal issues involved with different types of parents, that's one thing. But now you're going to start calling, go full circle to what the judge said at the very outset. He's a non-gestating parent. God bless you, Judge.
Well, thank you very much. Happy non-gestating parent day to you, too.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Thank you kindly. So,
and we have with us also Governor Patterson.
So, Vito, we've talked about how legislators do things and that kind of thing in the past, because you're probably right that 90% of the population would not even agree with doing this. Where did they get the votes to pass this?
My favorite governor there, Albany a lot better than I believe.
Well, I thought I did.
Yes, right. No, that's fair.
Once upon a time.
This becomes like the Republican Party sometimes, but it's a darling of the left. Perhaps they're concerned. I'm not questioning the motives of why people vote one way or the other, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is the big ticket litmus test. And if you don't support it, they'll expect the primary. So go along, hold your nose, and hope nobody pays attention. But this is not like raising the tax rate by a half a point. This is not talking about congestion pricing. This is redefining the whole concept of a family unit from a mother and a father to a gestating parent to non-gestating parent. It goes before the governor. I hope she has the guts to veto the bill and bring sanity and common sense back to this discussion of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, I do too. It's really shocking. Vito, we love having you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Always great to be with you all. Have a great night.
Thank you very much. And you guys, we're going to take a break. And then we have Miranda Devine, who had a big exclusive with President Trump. She's going to fill us in after the break.
Recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC. Breaking news, WABC.
Well, President Trump did a big exclusive interview with our next guest, and they talked about a whole bunch of stuff. Graham Plattner, Iran, Joe Biden, you name it. Well, joining us now, who better than the great Miranda Devine? She did it for Pod Force One. Miranda, first of all, congrats. And what did you think were the highlights? I saw some of the comments on Graham Plattner have been making a lot of headlines. That and Tallarico. I love how we kind of lumped them together.
Hi, Rita and John and everyone there. Yeah, he really, we went all over the map. And what was extraordinary was that the president is so versatile. He's able to leap from, those kind of minutiae of Senate races in Maine or Texas, sort of giving these humorous pen portraits of the Democrat candidates. He called Graham Plattner a major sleazebag, and to James Tallarico was even worse, and, a major vegan. Which he said he doesn't work in Texas. But then he's also talking about his strategy with Iran and the Middle East. And, I asked him about his conversation with Bibi Netanyahu, which Axios had reported that the president had, sworn at him and said, "What are you effing doing?" And you're effing crazy. And I asked him, "Is that true? Did you talk to the Israeli Prime Minister in those terms?" And he said, "I did." But then he went on to explain that he was perturbed about the fact that Israel was continuing to basically fight with Hezbollah in Lebanon, and he felt that was interfering with his peace negotiations with Iran. And he said they're good friends, and that's just the robust way that they talk to each other. They work well together, and Netanyahu has since confirmed that. So, it's the big boys, and they are communicating in a direct style, and that's the way Donald Trump does things. And I thought it was fascinating and refreshingly sort of open, as he always is, when he's talking directly really to the American people via the media.
And he looks great. I mean, sharp as a tack. I mean, you were throwing all these questions, and he looks terrific.
He looks terrific. And look, I mean, the doctor, his latest medical, which he went through with flying colours, he said, the doctor said his cardiac health is 14 years younger than his actual age, which I would quite believe, because his energy levels are incredible. He barely sleeps, and yet he's firing on all cylinders all the time. And in fact, he seemed like he'd even stepped up a notch. He's always hyper energetic and dynamic and interested in everything and everybody, and like reading everybody's faces and how they are, and just loves the gossip and making jokes. But he was at another level, even higher, and I think it's probably because he's energized by these very consequential decisions he's having to make, and I think he's in his element doing that.
That's a great point, because he's talk about being in the throes and such a consequential president. Ed Cox.
Yeah. In your interview, the other thing that made news was his saying that he would meet with the supreme leader of Iran. I thought after I read the transcript of it that was a little bit overdone by the press. The way he asked the question, he qualified it at the end a little bit.
Like, I'll meet with anybody.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that was how
he said it.
Of course, depending upon obviously what the outcome is.
Yes, and really well spotted there, Ed, because it always pays to read the whole transcript or watch the whole video rather than, with the media, it's shorthand and it's a bit of sensationalism and so on. But, yes, I mean, I did ask him. He wasn't like he volunteered that he wanted to go and meet the Ayatollah. I said, would you ever want to meet I actually called him the gay Ayatollah, and to his credit, he didn't crack a smile. But and he said, well, I haven't thought about it, but yeah, why not? I meet everyone. So I'm sure he would do it. In fact, I think he said, yeah, why not? If it helps to get the deal, I'd do it. I'd meet anyone. And
did you get a sense that he's close to a deal, or what was the sense on that, Miranda, with Iran?
Not really. I mean, look, he sort of manifests what he wants to be happening and puts a positive light on it. He wants to. He knows, and what he said is that he can do it the nice way or he can do it the other way. And the other way, kinetic, he says he doesn't need to have boots on the ground. He said just bombing. But he said, for humanitarian reasons, I don't want to do that. So I'll do it if I have to. But I just want to give this a chance. And he said that they're confident that they're talking to the right people now in Iran, who are the pragmatists, who are in control and can make the decisions, and that everything has to be then sort of sent via carrier pigeon to the Ayatollah, who I did ask him, is the Ayatollah compos mentis? Is he in a coma, as we've been told? He said, well, he may have bits and pieces chopped off him, but, they tell him that they're sending it to him and they need him to listen to it. And he said that's the way they've done it for many, many years. And so they respect him. And that's the way it's going to be.
Well, Miranda, it's a superb interview. I encourage everybody to check it out on Podforce One. You got so many great topics there with him, and you did a superb job, my friend. It was really awesome.
Thank you so much, Rita. Lovely to talk to you all.
Thank you very much, Miranda. Thank you. And everybody, what do we all stand for?
Truth, justice, and the American way. And no gestating.
No gestating. And God bless New York.
Thanks for listening to Katz and Cosby with John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. You can hear Katz and Cosby weekdays at 5. It's the 5 o'clock show on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Let me tell you about ProHealthConnect.com. It's transforming healthcare payments, providing retailers a seamless process for over-the-counter and healthy benefit programs. By connecting retailers, health plans, and payment processors, ProHealth Connect creates one powerful, unified network. They empower independent grocers and pharmacies to accept health benefit cards without changing how they do business. With over 10,000 locations nationwide, helping more than 1.3 million people access the care and nutrition they need. Go to ProHealthConnect.com.